Welcome to Walk in the Park. My name's Tony Ingram. In this episode, we're going to go to the place on my hat, the Grand Canyon. And we're going to visit with a couple from Ithaca who walked across the Grand Canyon last November in 2012.
I'm Jim Rundle.
I'm Tammy Lovell.
And you went somewhere special that you've been planning to go for many years, I guess.
Well, my cousin suggested going to the Grand Canyon about 4 years ago, and I said, "Well, if you do it, I want to do it too."
And I said I don't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah, and so he got it organized, and 2 years ago he went, but I had knee surgery, and I was preparing to go. I was starting to buy stuff for it, and then I couldn't go. And this year he decided he wanted to do it again, so I joined up with him. And then one day, just 2 months before the trip, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go. I was going to go to South Rim and hang out there while they did their thing. And I got to thinking it sounded like way too much fun. I hate climbing hills, you see.
Oh, so you were gonna go for a hike there.
I was going to go with my cousin. She was just going to...
I was going to hang out on the South Rim. I don't know what I was going to do.
Yeah, there were side trips and things that would have figured it out. But then she came in one day and said, "I want to go too."
Just 2 months before.
And Jim was very supportive. He said, "Well, you can do it, but you got to train."
Right. So that's what we did. We started training by hiking up and down gorges here. It wasn't a tremendous amount of training. We would go out about 5 times a week, and we would go to Lick Brook or Buttermilk or Treeman. Once we did the Abbott Loop on the Finger Lakes Trail.
The Abbott Loop was our biggest one.
Yeah.
And that's when we had our backpacks with us, and it was kind of like our test run.
Right.
I heard, did you put books in your backpack?
Yeah, we put books in our backpacks. And
he had more books than I did.
Yeah, but I never got it over 25 pounds when I was training, which was less than I wound up carrying.
And mine was about 17 when I was training.
Really? Yeah.
And we never hiked. The Abbott Trail was our longest hike, and that was about 5 hours. Most of the time we were doing 1 to 2 hour hikes. It wasn't a big training regimen to do this.
Right, but that got you in shape adequately.
That gave us enough of a base. Yeah, it was less than what we did, but it was enough of a base that once we got there, we were fine. And that was a great thing to discover too. I mean, it sounds like a big deal. We hiked from the north rim of the Grand Canyon right through the canyon up and back up to the south rim. So
in 5 days.
In 5 days, we started at 8,000 feet elevation, and we hiked down the first day and lost about 5,000. Went down about 5,000 feet of elevation that first day to the first campsite, Cottonwood.
Oh wow!
And then the last hike out was about 4,000 feet up, I think. I think 3 or 4,000.
I think it was about
4,000 about
feet.
7 on the south rim and 9.
Yeah, so it's a substantial piece of hiking if you're not real used to it. And we had not backpacked since 1972, so we really didn't.
Wow!
And my backpack weighed about 30 pounds when we started,
and mine was a little over 40. Yeah. And if there's a message of all this, if you're in reasonable health, you can do this. It's really, we were not real sure when we started. It worked fine.
But I think the Grand Canyon is a good place to hike because it sounds like a wilderness, but it's really not. I mean, the corridor trail from the north rim to the south rim is a beautiful trail. It's well marked. You can't get lost. They've got toilets with toilet paper there in various places, and most of the time they have a water supply. We took stuff with us to clean water, but we didn't have to use it. We could just use it from a faucet.
Really?
So it sounds adventuresome, but it's actually quite safe.
Yeah. And we were doing this in mid-November, which had me a little worried. It can get very cold at night, particularly. And they can shut off the water if they think the pipes are getting too cold. So that's why we had purification kits with us. You have to carry your water for the day's hike.
Yeah.
Once you get where you're going, there's always water. There's either a spigot, which fortunately there was the whole time, and you don't have to purify the water at all. Or if that's shut down, there's a stream nearby because you're always in a gorge hiking down it, and you can just fill up your bottles. But you have to use.
But you definitely want to purify it because they've got mules and horses and stuff.
Yeah, the Giardia. You really have to make sure that you do that.
Yeah. Well, 4 or 5 days. 5 days. That's a nice spread it out, so you're not.
It was nice and easy. It was like one step ahead of the other, and we were able to make it.
And my cousin had done this before, and he very wisely got us permits for 2 nights at Cottonwood, which was the first campground we stayed at. And that gave us a chance to recover after the first day because our shoulders were sore.
Yeah. Oh, my legs were terrible. The second day, I had to move my legs like this because of going down. But my muscles, my knees didn't bother me at all for the whole 5 days, even though I've got problems.
Well, the key is having trekking poles for us, because that really takes the strain off the knees. You're going downhill a lot that first day, and especially for those downhills, the trekking poles were just essential. And we bought these. These are collapsible, and you can get them down to where you can fit this crosswise in a suitcase. And so we were able to carry them with us on the plane. We took most of our stuff we bought here and took with us. We bought some things there. Some of our food, we should have bought all our food there.
I went online and I found an REI and a Trader Joe's right near Las Vegas where we flew into.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
so we could buy a lot of stuff.
Right,
sure. On our way to Arizona.
The first night it was
cold.
When we woke up in the morning, it was 27 degrees. So in the night, we wore our long johns, a few layers, hats. We had a down sleeping bag. We both had I had a down vest.
And I had a down coat, jacket.
We put those on top of our sleeping bags. And zipped all the way up, mummy bags. We were okay. We were just okay. And our friends, my cousin and his friend, there were 4 of us. And they were a little cold. They had rented their equipment, gotten down bags that were supposed to be good down to 20 degrees, and they were cold. They were throwing stuff on all night.
We didn't know how cold we could go with our bags because we bought them about 30 years ago.
Right.
But they were down on the top.
That's the one they made good bags.
It must be,
Yeah, they were all right.
They were fine.
Yeah, REI says you need to replace them about every 5 years.
Yeah.
Ours were 35 years old.
Yeah, right.
It worked.
I think I'm due.
Yeah, dressing for it was one of the things we really weren't sure about.
Well, the thing was, I knew it was going to be cold at night because the sun went down about 5:30.
Yeah.
And we're not moving, so I was wondering how we were going to keep warm. You can't have a fire in the Grand Canyon.
Oh, you can't build a campfire.
It's a desert, and it would just...
They just destroy the desert,
Yeah.
But we managed, and we went to bed pretty early.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, well, we were kind of wondering what are we going to do, but just kind of taking your time setting up camp and making your dinner and stuff like that. It takes a while. And we had headlamps that we strapped on, and that really works because you can see what you're doing in the dark.
Oh, cool.
Still, you could use your
Did you have a tent?
Yeah, we had a backpacking tent that weighed about 5 or 6 pounds. 6 pounds with a fly.
Yeah, not bad.
That's the tent and the sleeping bags.
You were about to show us.
Yeah. So for camping, for cooking, this pot came with a Spia stove that we used 40 years ago.
Right.
And that used white gas, and we've since learned about these things that probably everybody else knows about, but we thought they were amazing. And it's just a little gas burner that screws onto a little liquid gas canister.
Right.
And very, very compact. It works.
Turn it on and light
really easy.
No pumping, no warming the gas or anything
no.
like that.
no fussing with
no
fussing with fuel or anything. So that worked really, really well. And then this
now canister gas lasted for the trip pretty much, or
it did. There was some left.
Didn't we have two?
No, we only had
We had
one.
yeah.
And we actually gave it to the Park Service afterwards. They collect them cans with
To recycle.
well, it still had gas in it, and so they'll use it. They'll give it to people who need some more gas. So we just left it with them. Just really simple stuff to eat out of. Breakfast, we ate oatmeal, and you had gotten some powdered soy milk.
Soy milk powder, yeah, because
Yeah.
Jim's lactose was lactose.
Also, powdered skim milk really is kind of nasty.
Yeah.
And the soy milk has some fat in it, so it doesn't dissolve very well. But if you're boiling up oatmeal, you just stir it in with the oatmeal, and that was a good breakfast. It's
with walnuts and
Yeah.
dried
Yeah.
apricots and
yeah.
tea, because we didn't
We didn't want to bother cooking
coffee.
making
Although I
coffee.
think maybe next time we will.
it's when you have that cold morning and you're all stiff, you know.
Yeah.
Hot oatmeal and hot tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For lunches, we had lots of nuts, and I bought a box of graham crackers, and we had some granola bars.
Right.
So we just snacked during the day. We didn't like have sandwiches or
Right.
cook or anything like that.
Well, one time we were hiking along, and my cousin had gotten out ahead of us, and we ran across him. He was sitting on a rock firing up his stove and cooking himself a lunch.
Oh wow.
So, but yeah, we relied on just finger food, and if we were doing it again, I'd take fewer nuts and more chocolate. The
And
chocolate
more
was really-
beef and more jerky too.
Yeah, beef jerky.
We got really good jerky at
Oh.
Trader Joe's. in
Yeah.
Las
Oh,
Vegas.
really? Oh,
yeah.
good. Oh,
Buffalo
yeah.
jerky.
We'd never had
Buffalo jerky.
Buffalo jerky.
right.
Yeah.
we never had jerky before. It turned out to be good because it's really nice to get that protein.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
When you're doing all that. And,
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the traditional.
yeah, and then
Probably
dinners.
The 19th century too.
Yeah, right. But the dinners we mostly did non-traditional. We did freeze dried.
Those bags,
Yeah.
you pour the water into the
Yeah.
bags and the dried food.
Right.
And it
Yeah,
cooks
so all you
in
have
the
to do is
bag.
boil the water and pour it in,
And then you're done.
and seal it up and wait 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and you got a dinner.
Wow. Yeah.
And then we also used the black bean powdered soup from Green Star.
Green Star, yeah.
Yeah, for one night. That worked fine too.
That cooks up quick.
That's
huh?
good. Yeah.
Oh, and our best meal was at the Phantom Ranch. We were able to get beef stew dinner.
Oh, you stopped and had supper at Phantom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jim had tried to make reservations there before we left, and they were all full. But when
Yeah.
we got to the ranch, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 3:30, something like
Yeah,
that.
3:30.
He was able to make reservations.
And as far as we could see, the rule was if you got there before 4:30 and said you wanted a meal, they'd accommodate you. And
Probably not so in the summer when they're really.
But you didn't spend the
Maybe
night
not.
there. You.
We camped at
the-
Bright Angel, which is right next door.
Yeah. But you were able to get supper there. Oh, that's,
yeah,
that's really great.
And it was
that was
nice to
very
do
nice.
something social rather than to go to bed at 7:30. We
Right.
to stay up
Right,
until
yes.
10 talking
Right.
to people.
it would
Down
have
back.
been nice if we could have a campfire, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, and it got cold when the sun went down. It got cold down there. This is mid-November.
Right.
We started November 12th, and we climbed out on November 16th.
And we started from Jacob Lake on the North Rim, and it was snow and ice. It looked like midwinter there.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But
Yeah.
as soon as we started down the trail, the snow went away and it warmed up.
Yeah.
So what we did was we drove to the South Rim, left our rental car there, met up with my cousin, went with him in his rental car up to Jacob Lake,
Ah, okay.
which is on every map, but all it is actually is just a hotel and
And the gas station.
gas
It's not a
right.
town.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, and then but from there you can hire a van to take you to the North Rim,
I see.
and that means you don't have to leave your car at the North Rim, and it can snow. It could get snowed in,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't get your rental car out until May.
Because they close all the hotels and
Yeah.
the campgrounds and everything on the
The
North
motel
Rim.
stays open 12 months of the year.
Yeah,
No,
Jacob
but
road-
it's actually on the rim itself.
The
Yes.
lodge is
Park.
The
closed.
lodge is closed.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
so we left the car at Jacob Lake, and then after we walked the whole canyon, then we all rode in our rental car back around to Jacob Lake, which was 200 and
13 miles.
yeah, it's a big drive because you're
Wow.
driving all around the canyon. It's a 25-mile hike across, but yeah.
But before October 15th, they have a shuttle bus. But after October 15th, until I think April 15th, there's
Between
no,
the rims. You mean?
between the rims.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But in
Oh.
November there isn't one. So.
Yeah. Okay, that's good for people
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
But it was just an amazing thing to be there. I mean, it was really kind of a
It
trip
was
of a lifetime.
exciting.
It was
Yeah.
every moment you look around and just cannot believe what you're looking at. That you
Or
these
what
paths-
you've just come down or
Yeah.
you wonder how are you going to get. You see way off in the distance where you're going. How are you going to get there? The paths are very artfully done. They're plenty wide, but they don't mar the landscape. And
I never felt like I was going to fall off into the canyon. I
You know,
I
there are
guess maybe I
1,000
wasn't looking. But
there are places you look down, it's a 1,000-foot drop, but you feel safe. At least we did, because the paths are very well done,
Yeah.
and the bridges
Right.
are very well made, and you know, and you start out even at the top. The rock is pretty old rock,
Yeah.
and by the time you get down to the bottom, you can see the changes in the rock. You're getting into this metamorphic rock that's really
Right.
kind of tortured-looking rock, and it's
Yeah.
just amazing to see it. And that rock is over 1 billion years old.
Wow. Wow.
When
Yeah.
you get down to the bottom, and you can see the changes as you go down. You can see where they're nice strata, and then you start seeing strata that are tilted, and then you start seeing strata that are mangled, and
Right.
and all around there's, especially from the north rim, there's interesting vegetation everywhere. Less so from the south rim, where it's more of a desert kind of scrubland. The north rim is really wonderful, and everywhere there's just giant, massive boulders like the size of this house
That
They're
have
just
fallen down.
You can look up and see there's a notch there where it fell, and we were looking at this. Tammy says, "Yeah, let's get out of here."
But we didn't see any rock falls. I suppose
No.
it happens like during storms or rain or winter freezing or whatever.
Yeah, or who knows when? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like.
We developed a great respect for the National Park Service too, because we didn't
Yeah.
see anybody going until we got around Phantom Ranch, but the whole South Rim, the rangers would come up and they would say, "How's it going?" And it was their job to ask, "How's it going?" so
Right.
they could keep sort of an eye on everybody, and
Yeah.
they would answer your questions. And
There are always signs about what not to do, including don't leave micro trash, and they'd have little pictures of cardboard matchsticks and stuff as things you shouldn't leave.
Huh.
And people who went there seemed to be totally respectful of it. There was no trash anywhere. The entire time we were there, there was no
Wow.
trash. And you know that thousands and thousands of people go through there, and the Park Service isn't picking up after them all there.
Yeah.
People got the message, and
no, it was really nice, and I felt amazed that by the time I was going up the South Rim, I must have been in shape, because I never felt out of breath. I can feel more out of breath walking up to Cornell from downtown.
Really?
I was going pretty slow.
Yeah.
I was
sure.
the only one in our group who didn't have a camera, so that helped.
you kept right up with us.
I was
Yeah,
not the
easily.
last person.
No,
I was
not
not the
by any
last
means.
person.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I wasn't taking pictures, so
Yeah.
that didn't slow me down.
Well, this is inspiring for folks that are.
Oh, we
outdoors,
just
so
kept
forth,
stopping
do
and
this.
looking around. One important thing to do is look behind you, because you come down these things and then you look back and you just can't believe what you're looking at.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty easy to just spend the time looking at your feet.
Yeah,
right,
Okay,
right.
time to
Yeah.
look around.
Yeah, and the light from the sun, it keeps changing on the peaks that you
Yeah.
can see from the gorge, and the colors keep changing all the time. And
Yeah, the canyon is a real light show.
it's such a
Amazing.
feast for the eyes. It's just unbelievable.
Wow.
Some of the people we met at the bottom at Phantom Ranch go there every year to hike.
Aha.
Yeah.
And I can see
Oh,
why.
nice.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
It's a very nice.
Very, very special.
Wow.
Nothing else. I mean, we went to. There are lots and lots of really wonderful hikes in that entire area, of course, in the Southwest.
Yeah.
But nothing was the same as this.
Yeah. Prepare.
Now,
You
now
have
the
to
deal.
prepare, yes.
Yeah, and the deal
Yeah.
is you have to get permits in advance for
Yes.
each campsite.
How far in
Yeah.
advance? Do you do that?
4 months, and
Is
it's
that
by
this-
lottery.
By lottery.
And there's only one Grand Canyon, and there are a lot of people who want to do it, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not that easy.
right.
That's why
and-
we ended up going in November, because the October slots.
Yeah, we wanted to go in
Cool.
October, but we
Yeah.
wound up in November. November was fine.
Although we were lucky, the week before we went, they had Brutus. Remember that snowstorm Brutus that came through?
Oh, yeah, the one in
So it was
Edmonton.
pretty cold, and they also had controlled burns on the North Rim, so
Huh.
that there was
Hmm.
a lot of smoke in the air. But by the time we went down, it wasn't so bad.
Oh my gosh.
So you
Oh.
never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just warm enough at night. If it had been colder, it would have been unpleasant.
So, how about your packs? Anything you
But
can
I
say
love
about-
my backpack.
Yeah, you talk about your backpack.
I think I drove every salesman crazy. I bought 2 backpacks from CR Trading Post, and I returned them both.
Huh.
I bought a backpack from EMS and returned that, and then I ordered this from REI, and I figured I better keep one because I'm short-waisted, so I had a really hard time
Yeah.
finding one that fit me.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
important to get one that fits.
Oh, yeah.
But I just love my backpack, even though it was 30 pounds. It's got lots of pockets. It's lightweight.
And Tammy had really researched all this, so when we got down there, she was teaching everybody else how to adjust their packs because there are all kinds of little straps you can make things tighter
Pull
here,
this,
you can
pull
pull
this.
this, you can
Yeah.
pull here.
Oh, wow.
And those adjustments make a difference, and it's nice to be able to shift them around, shift the weight a little bit.
REI has a really good video on how to adjust your backpack, and the first thing
Oh.
the lady says is, "It's gonna hurt." So the point is to make it hurt in different places.
And the funny thing is, it really didn't hurt that much. It really wasn't that bad. The first day was pretty hard, but after that, it really was
Huh.
not that bad.
We took lots of stops and
Yeah.
took our backpacks off to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good
you're
idea.
always looking for a good rock that's the right height where you can sit down and lean your backpack on,
Right.
rest the backpack on it, and give your
yeah.
shoulders a little rest without taking it off. This is the one I got. I got this down in Binghamton at one of those sales they have at Eureka.
Yeah.
It was only about $50, I think, and it was terrific. It did everything I needed.
Yeah.
Internal frame.
Gee.
One piece of advice somebody in Sedona gave us was that she always carries an extra buckle with her, because if your buckle breaks,
Oh.
Yeah.
you're in trouble. We didn't have an extra buckle, but it sounded like pretty good advice.
Well,
They're pretty
actually,
cheap.
when I was trying to rig up my
Huh.
pack and get the tent lashed to the bottom of it, a strap broke, and so I bought one of those, a buckle and a strap, and
Oh.
fixed it up, and it was
Yeah.
fine. So
Some of
it
those
is
buckles
good.
are cheap.
Yeah, it's good to have little extra things.
The other thing we really liked is we both got backpacking air mattresses, and they are designed to insulate you from the cold. I don't know how. There's not much there. They're very light, and they're 20 inches wide, so they're smaller than a typical air mattress. But it really doesn't take that much. You blow them up, but it doesn't take that much to do it. It's really not that hard, and then you've got it's 2.5 inches, and for the old bones, it really
It's lightweight, very.
it's
Huh.
light, and it really gives you good.
And it gets up a good.
Yeah, you get about.
I mean, we got old bones. And
Yeah,
it-
I was concerned about that too, and we slept fine on these things. We were very comfortable.
Huh.
Yeah, this is a big improvement on the old Thermarest pads that we used
Yeah.
years ago.
Huh. So what do you call this kind of thing?
It's just a backpacking.
insulated. What is it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's an insulated air mattress. We were very careful about the weight of everything
Yeah.
because
Yeah, you really
Your backs
have to
weren't
pay
that
attention to
heavy.
that. I came out just over 40 pounds,
Okay.
and I would not have wanted to have any more weight than that.
Yeah.
That was really.
That's hefty.
By the time we finished, my pack was down to 30, and yours is down to
under
20.
20. We had no more water. Water was 8 pounds
Yeah,
right there for carrying a day's worth, and then the food.
we had 3 quarts of water each
Oh, okay.
for hiking.
I
during
carried
the day.
4, and then at the
Yeah.
end, the park ranger said in November you don't need that much water.
Yeah.
Oh.
In the summer, you need a little more.
Yeah.
You really need 4 quarts
Would you
each.
carry it in like bottles? Or,
Yeah, we just bought bottles at the grocery store of just regular old bottled water.
yeah.
And filled it up.
Yeah, and then threw
Yeah.
them away when we were
And then
done.
you can put them around in different places on
Yeah.
the pack instead of having.
Yeah, the packs have all kinds of little pockets and stuff.
Yeah. Huh. Well, that's one of the
Yeah.
big dangers of people going into the canyon is
It is.
running out of water.
Yeah.
It's maybe one of the biggest.
We
Right.
we went to the website before we left, and the park website, and I took heed of all the instructions there about what to be careful about.
Great.
Right. Yeah. Well, the air is very, very dry, so you don't realize how much water you're losing,
Mhm.
and you get thirsty, and you want to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
Chapstick is a good idea.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's great to go to the South Room. That's where everybody goes, but the North Room is definitely better.
Uh-huh.
It's just it's amazing.
Yeah.
Plus, once you come down from the North Rim, then part of the hike after that to get to Phantom Ranch is through what they call the box canyon.
canyons. They're very narrow.
That's where it gets
Slot canyon.
really
Not
narrow.
slots, no.
No, it's not that narrow.
No.
Okay.
But it really gets dramatic,
And
that's
it's
where the
more zigzaggy, so that it looks like you're coming to the end of the canyon, and then you go to another.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to know what you're doing. I mean, you have to be cautious and respectful.
We did bring ponchos, even though it's not likely to rain. It can rain.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if your stuff gets wet and it's cold, then it's
Yeah,
a
you
real
got
drag.
problems.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we did wear mostly synthetics and merino wool and stuff like that breathes and dries out easily.
And we had good boots, which
Uh-huh.
we had been training in, so that they weren't
Yeah.
untested.
They were broken in, and so were your feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I actually got a half size larger than I usually do.
Huh.
They say when you're going downhill, you don't want to bump your toes against the top of your
Oh,
boots.
yeah.
Well, the nice thing about hiking boots, I never used them before in all these years, but what I realized is, you lash it around your ankle here, and then when you're going downhill, the pressure is on the ankle. It's not on the,
yeah.
and that really helps.
Oh, that
Going
gives
downhill,
support.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, going downhill, that
Uh-huh.
really helps. You don't jam your toes. You feel really supported.
Ah, yeah.
And that was very helpful.
Yeah.
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 And you spent a long time going downhill that first day.
I used to have an expression from the Grand Canyon. What goes down must go up.
Yes, exactly.
Huh.
The thing that I was so happy with is I do tend to have knee troubles, and especially going down hills, and the poles completely solved the problem.
Wow.
I just didn't. I
Well, that's
just
a really
didn't-
important
Yeah.
tip right there. Then, yeah.
It really is. It was very, very nice to find that I could do that, because it would be a big limitation otherwise.
If you're walking downhill from the North Rim, you're
Yeah. Well, I
So
had knee
10
surgery
miles or
just,
something or
just
more.
the year before I had
Yeah.
knee surgery. And that was
Total
okay.
of 14 miles, and it's about 6,000 feet
down.
down over 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a message from all this, it's that it's not that hard to do something like this.
Huh.
It doesn't take a lot of preparation. It takes some preparation.
Yeah.
Some
I
preparation
can
makes
do it. Anybody, almost anybody can do it. The other lesson is do take lots of pictures, because you really are
Yeah.
looking at your feet a lot of times, and so
Uh-huh.
it's nice to have
It does kind of force you to,
look around,
look around
and to have the
and stop.
memories
yeah.
Yeah.
afterward.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story about walking across the Grand Canyon.
Yep, thank you.
Very welcome. I hope more people do it.